What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another DFS Daily Fantasy Sports video here. It's Thursday, and games start tonight for Week 4, but we're going to take a look back at Week 3 for my third week playing GPPs over on FanDuel. For you guys that watched the Week 2 video, you guys know I had a pretty good week. I ended up getting third. I ended up making, I think, about $1,500. The second week, or this week right here, I decided, you know what? We got a $1,600 roll. Let's move up stakes. Let's shot take. So FanDuel has the $25 main contest. And I said, you know what? Let's see what we can do. I ended up putting about 45 entries in, spent about $1,125 of my $600 bankroll, ended up cashing for about $2,700. I had a chance at a pretty deep run. I think I was about 60th at one point in time with two players left, Antonio Brown and Hunter Hurst Helmsley, the tight end for San Diego Chargers. And then, a bunch of other players did really well, and it just didn't work out. But I did get 111th out of 82,000 people. And listen, I don't know if that's good, but man, that seems fucking good to me. So lineups did really well. And I feel like, Fantasy Labs, once again, big week with Fantasy Labs, helped out a ton. I mentioned in the last video, anyone signed up, we put people in a group together. So we got a couple people in the group right now in the Facebook group talking some DFS, all trying to get better. So I think that's pretty cool. But yeah, man, we're going to go over it. We're going to review the lineups here again today, talk a little bit about what I've learned over the past couple weeks here from playing these GPPs. And yeah, I do want to make this, I'm going to make an official video, but just if you guys don't see the official video, I am going to be doing a show with Roto Grinders, a Sunday night live sweat show. We're going to be breaking down, all the contests as things go deep during the last game, looking at the players, looking who did well, looking who did bad, check out some of the bigger names, see how their lineups are doing, see who's winning some of the high stakes. I don't exactly know what it's going to be like, but man, it's going to be fun. I'm so excited, honestly. I've never really worked together with another site or another company in this capacity, but if you guys watch DFS Week, you guys know I was excited. I was like, why is something like this not out there, man? Like, why? Like, you get all these contests going down, people winning $1 million, people winning trips to live parties. You got the higher stakes guys who people follow and they know and they look up to. Like, why isn't something out there like this? I just couldn't figure it out. So yeah, we're gonna see what happens with that, guys. But without further ado, I'm just waking up, man. Let's get into the video. Let's see what we did. Let's see how we came to be. All right, boys, and 2 or 3 girls that may be watching this. Take a look here. First at just kind of what my teams were and kind of what my overall players were. So I went with 3 quarterbacks, and then I added in some Dak Prescott lineups last minute. So I went with, of course, guys know I cannot not take the Bears quarterback. So I took Brian Hoyer and Alshon Jeffrey, and I'll show you guys how I kind of came. Oh, that one I didn't. There was no fucking evidence to take that one. You guys just know I love the Bears. And then I took Ryan Tannehill and Jarvis Landry as one of my main stacks. This is the lineup that did the best in. And this kind of had a bunch of main people that I really wanted to have. So I wanted to have David Johnson in a bunch of my lineups. I wanted to have Marvin Jones Jr. in a bunch of my lineups. Antonio Brown, I mean, yeah, I guess you can't go wrong with him. Hunter Hurst Helmsley, I was either him or Jesse James for $4,500. So I went with Hunter in this lineup because I had Antonio Brown. And I didn't think having Antonio Brown and Jesse James would be good. And then I had Miami's defense against Cleveland, which I had pretty much in everything, and they did fucking terrible. And then Kansas City defense had 35 points, which is just insanity. Kicker, I don't know, clicking buttons, kicker-wise. And then LaShawn McCoy, it's funny. So LaShawn McCoy, he was in maybe 2 lineups, and this is one of the lineups that Fantasy Labs put him in. So bang, bang, it kind of worked out. He really wasn't in my main thing. So I guess we take a look at some of my other lineups here and kind of what we had going on. So as you can see, I had David Johnson and Melvin Gordon and DeAngelo Williams kind of as my main guys. And this is one of the Dak Prescott, Des Bryant lineups. And luckily a late touchdown kind of helped that out. I had Travis Kelce in a couple. But yeah, I think Jarvis Landry, Marvin Jones. Actually, Marvin Jones really wasn't in my core. I did like him, but I didn't really have him in my core. I probably should have thought about that a lot more because everything you read about the Lions and the Packers game kind of led you to believe that it would be a little bit higher scoring of a game, and yeah, so here's just kind of want to show a couple before we get into the video. So Charles Sims, because Doug Martin was out, he was in a bunch of my lineups as well. T.Y. Hilton was always getting suggested by Fantasy Labs, but I didn't put him in many, unfortunately, and he obviously went crazy. So you can kind of see very similar type of core. I had Hunter Hearst Helmsley in a bunch, and Antonio Brown in a bunch, and Dolphins kicker in a bunch. See what other lineups in here. Yeah, there's the one with D'Angelo Williams. And then, yeah, it's pretty much very similar one, just with D'Angelo Williams and Dan Bailey swapped in there. One David Johnson, Charles Sims, Kelsey, and Beckham, and Stephon Diggs. But yeah, pretty much all these Marvin Jones Jr. ones, they did well. And this is one of the Eli Manning ones that we'll get into. And then, yeah, these other ones just finished, 2000, so they weren't. You guys can get a kind of a feel for how things go. So let's get here into the footage, guys. So, as you guys can see, started my preparation for the lineups over on Fantasy Labs site once again here. So I was trying to decide which quarterbacks I wanted to go with. And I don't know, I think I went with Eli Manning. Yeah, we'll kind of get to how I came with Eli Manning. So it took me about 45 minutes sort of going through here. So I checked out CSU Ram had this quarterback video. So I kind of checked that out. This is obviously, Ryan Tannehill, he was just the highest rated guy here on Fantasy Labs in terms of rating, in terms of what they projected. And then Jarvis Landry was supposed to be high. So, that was pretty much like, and they're going against the Browns. I believe Joe Hayden was out. So that seemed like, an easy one to go with. Just let's stack that. And I feel like I felt really good about that one. Obviously, you can see that one, that one turned out pretty well. So I kind of watched this video, and, I think it just made me, I may have come to it, but I kind of just said, hey, let's take Ryan Tannehill. Let's go ahead and do that. But I did like the video. I think the video was a little bit helpful as well. I went over to Roto Grinders, kind of just checked out one of their articles about certain players that they liked. I don't think I really decided to go with anything from this article, though. And I guess I hope you didn't either. I guess Christine Michael's pretty good, so Michael did really well. Yeah, I went over to Roto Grinders, kind of just checked out here, just kind of seeing. But so something I learned, guys, is that like if you go read, I feel like if you read 20 articles, like you're gonna have literally every single player on your radar. Like that's the problem, right? Is that, and I feel like a lot of people probably run into that issue. Is like they read one article, okay, it's like DeMarco Murray, Langford. All right, David Johnson. Okay, we're good. And you go read another article. All right, Melvin Gordon, D'Angelo Williams. And you're like, oh shit, all right. And you go read another one, Matt Forte. You're just like, wait, okay, what now? Christine Michael. You're like, oh fuck, all right, CJ Anderson. So now you got 9 running backs you're suggesting these articles. So I feel like a lot of players probably have to struggle with that. Just so much information. They read so many articles. They combine a bunch of projection sites, and maybe something like that is something to do with that would be, obviously like ownership percentage matters from one standpoint in this too. So you do start taking that into account. I feel like I'm not quite there where I'm really thinking on some high ownership percentage level in terms of the decisions that I'm making yet. But I feel like maybe a good approach would be, if you're a kind of guy who consumes a lot of stuff, then maybe you see the same names repeated, and those are the kind of guys you go with if you're really going with projections and articles, and that's basically how you're coming to your decisions. And another thing would be just to read less. And so basically my 2 approaches have been, I've basically just read Fantasy Labs. I've just used Fantasy Labs, and that's, I'm not combining projections from 4 different things yet. I'm not really getting into that yet. And I feel like I'll work my way up to that point. But I feel like for right now, and for a lot of people out there, they probably just get overwhelmed, and you probably start like putting too much thought into it. So now it's like you have 6, 7, 8 things, 3 projection sites. You've watched 25 videos. You listen to 10 podcasts. CSU Ram likes this guy. Adam Leviton likes this guy. Evan Silva likes these 2 guys who are different. So now it's like, all right, well, now I'm sort of back where I started. I got this, I've eliminated terrible people, but now here I am. And, maybe that's something for people to think about out there, is just maybe limiting the amount of resources they're using, they're taking in, they're getting knowledge from, and sort of maybe try to find one or two ones that you really like. And how do you define what you really like? Well, obviously, it's pretty subjective because you might have a deep run, and then maybe I've had two pretty good weeks. So now it's like, well, obviously there's some element of variance and luck involved in that. But at the same time, so from what we know from Fantasy Labs projections, projections for a lot of these things have done pretty well so far. So now it gives me more faith in terms of believing in the projections in the future. And obviously, you're still going to need variance to go your way, but at the same time, we're gonna see exactly how much it matters. So, and I'm sure you definitely need variance to go your way to win. But do you need variance to make money? You definitely need variance to be on your side for sure. I don't know what I did here. There's a blank screen of page. So here, all right. So we're back at the page here. Looking up our boy Cam Newton because we had Cam Newton last week and he took us to the promised land, I believe. Apparently I'm just fucking around. I looked up Jameis Winston again because I had Jameis Winston last week. And so I was looking at his stats and I noticed that he never really had a lot of touchdown passes. He had a lot of yards, but he never had a lot of touchdown passes in a bunch of his games except week 1. And I took him last week. So I was like, I don't really want to have Jameis Winston as my other quarterback. So I already decided on Hoyer, and I believe I decided on Tannehill at this point. I was just looking for a third. Then I went back to the homepage, and they have these breakdowns here. So I went to the week 3 quarterbacks, kind of read this. I really like these little breakdowns they do for the different positions on the site. Yeah, I didn't really take anything away from that, obviously. I think that's how I kind of came to Eli Manning, because I was kind of reading the articles, and nothing really stood out to me. Maybe that's when I should have read another article. And then obviously wide receivers. They broke down big 3. They broke down some of these other secondary guys. A couple guys that we had Kelvin Benjamin last week, which was he obviously did really well. So this was one of the there's this Josh Norman thing, and they said Sterling Shepard would probably get more catches. So I actually did some stacks where I did Eli Manning, Odell Beckham, and that guy Shepard. So I don't know if the 2 wide receiver stacks are ever quite going to beat GTO, but I was just putting things together. I was trying some things here, see exactly what would happen with it. I felt like Beckham could have had a big week, wanting to get back at Josh Norman. I feel like he'd have all the incentive in the world. He hasn't really had a big week yet, so I really like this. They did this little example lineup, and then once they started putting players in, I was like, oh, these are kind of like all players I want to have. I was like, oh, that can't be good. Because they used the optimizer, and it got David Johnson, Frank Gore, Antonio Brown, Antonio Gates, and those were kind of guys I had in mind. And I'm like, oh, well, everyone's probably going to have those guys. So, yeah, just kind of taking a look at the rest of the stuff here. I mean, this is kind of like, this is kind of the full process right here. I was just going through things and looking, went over to running backs, kind of read some stuff. The first week we kind of took some stuff away. We took a couple things away that we really used for our lineups in terms of our players, but I don't think this week I already sort of had these main guys. So there's actually going to be one thing right here that this is where I sort of went with, and these aren't these certainly aren't these big fucking hot takes or anything like that in terms of I went with I put this guy Cameron Artis Payne in a lineup because this fucking thing, and I'm like, oh man, maybe I don't know, fishing hard. 80-20 rule, they had D'Angelo Williams. So I was like, I probably want to have D'Angelo Williams in lineups again just because he is getting all these carries. So it would make sense to have him in the lineups. And then obviously, I read this thing about David Johnson, which talked about second in the NFL in 5 rushes inside 10-yard line. He's obviously done pretty well for me in other weeks. And then CJ Anderson, top 5 salary, top 3 production. So those 2 guys, I was like, all right, I definitely want to have those 2 guys in my lineups. And like I said, it's not anything mind-blowing. It's not anything, but I feel like maybe some people might overthink it. They might think, oh, those guys are too high salary or whatever. But I feel like having those guys in my core players was just going to be a good approach to take. And yeah, I'm sort of just, I'm still experimenting with all this stuff like that. So I feel like you can't go wrong just trying. I'm starting this out. I'm going to go with the some of the higher running backs, the higher price running backs, the higher value running backs, and then if that strategy doesn't work, if I feel like I'm missing out on running back and tight end, then I can evaluate my strategy. But I feel like having those guys in there that you believe in the strongest and that appear to be have these high ceilings, I feel like even with the high priced is probably a good approach to take. So went into the simulator here over in Fantasy Labs. You guys didn't see this. Pretty easy to use. You just kind of can look by their rating they give, points by salary. You can lock players in. So I locked in my boy Brian Hoyer. Shout out to Puppy. Locked in Brian Hoyer, locked in Alshon Jeffrey, and then I got started. It was pretty simple. You just go over, you generate some lineups. So my process is I always select none now. And last week, you guys noticed I really jumped the gun. The first lineups, I took 7. I took 6 or 7 out of this screen without even thinking about it, without really putting much thought into it. And I felt like that was a big mistake. So this week, I really tried to be a little bit more diligent in terms of making sure the core guys I had in my mind, Melvin Gordon, D'Angelo Williams, Anderson, Charles Sims, and David Johnson were kind of in my lineups. And then wide receivers, I was looking for Landry, looking for Brown, but I'm looking for some deviation in terms of throwing in a couple other guys in the wide receiver position, in the running back position, and so you have some of these what's it called ancillary kind of guys, I believe is the word, that to sort of complement your main guys. So I was planning to do 10, and now I'm kind of looking around. I see Vincent Jackson in a bunch, thinking I'm like, Mer. Yeah, I'm happy with myself. I didn't really get overexcited about any of these first. I'm kind of just was just kind of easing into things. Didn't want to rush. I like that a lot. I took this lineup, and let's just look at this lineup. Obviously, I think I took this out because it has 3 Pittsburgh Steelers in there. It has the running back, it has wide receiver, it has tight end. That can't be good. I mean, that just can't, right? That can't be good. There's no way that's ever going to be good. There's no way that'd be good. No chance. I just don't think so. I don't even know if taking a wide receiver and a tight end's good, or a wide receiver and a running back. Maybe if it's D'Angelo Williams and Antonio Brown. You guys get to see my pants, man. Yeah, I just got out of bed. Maybe that's okay, but I don't know. So here's defense. They kept putting Oakland in there. I'm like, please stop putting Oakland in there. And I'm not sure how Oakland actually did, but I decided to lock in. Yeah, Oakland was playing at Tennessee, so I'm just I don't know if I want to have at Oakland in here. I was kind of looking at defenses, and I put in Carolinas again. Tennessee's kind of the process, so now I'm just, I lock in 3 guys. I'm kind of building a team around there. I'm looking for teams with kind of my core guys in mind. I think that's pretty self-explanatory at this point. I'm just going through looking. This one has Devontae Parker in it, which is, not a guy that's in my core, but a guy being recommended. So I want to put him in a couple lineups. Now I'm looking at wide receiver for the projection, and obviously that's Jarvis Landry as the highest. As some of these other guys, Marvin Jones is really high, Stephon Diggs, Vincent Jackson, T.Y. Hilton, Jordan Matthews, Antonio Brown. So I mean, those guys all did pretty well, I believe. I'm not sure how Stephon Diggs and Tajay Sharp did though. I put Travis Benjamin in a couple lineups again because I did well with him last week, and I don't think I actually included him in too many lineups this week though. I don't think he did well. So I excluded Antonio Brown because they kept putting Antonio Brown in every single lineup all the time. So I just wanted to see exactly what non-Antonio Brown lineups were, and then I put Jarvis Landry in because I know I wanted Landry. So now I'm just looking for lineups with the tight end, kicker, and then running backs. So right here, I was looking for running backs that had both of my guys that I wanted. So I picked this one with the Seattle defense, picked this one with the Oakland defense, kind of had both of the running backs I was looking for. I did end up including Oakland in some lineups here. So I kind of had these main three wide receivers that I wanted to get in some lineups, which I don't know if was the best strategy. It would have been better to spread it out a little bit more, but I don't know. think it was okay. Kind of just you have your stack, your quarterback, wide receiver stack, and then you have your wide receivers that you think are going to do really well, and then you want to just build around that. So that's sort of your core, and in some lineups, such like a core for a couple lineups. I mean, it's not a core. If it's like 4 or 5 lineups, it's not really a lot of lineups. You're just, I don't know. Something interesting to think about moving forward. So I got my 10, got my distribution up there. You can kind of see Landry's in a bunch, Melvin Gordon, Williams, Johnson, Sims, kind of my guys that I wanted to get. I'm looking through. I like to do it when I'm doing this. I'm talking to people too. So what do we do now? Let's see. Where do we go now? So now I go to Ryan Tannehill. Put in some Tannehill, Jarvis, Landry lineups. Voila, let's generate some shizzle. Let's see what happens. As you can see, they always kind of recommend, same guys. Same guys are always sort of on the recommended list. A lot of same running backs. Got the projected ownership of people. A lot of high projected guys. So I'm happy with myself. I'm not, as you guys can see, I'm not just busting my load and going first. So this one I take this Marvin Jones, Jarvis Landry, Gordon, Todd Gurley. I want to have Gurley in 1 or 2, I guess. But yeah, I didn't just take a lot of things. I'm kind of looking and making sure it's what I really like or really want to have. Put this one up here with Frank Gore in there too, because I know Frank Gore had a little bit of hype to him. I wish I would have took this one with Shane Vereen, because I know he did well. I mean, all these lineups, definitely look okay. Patient. I was patient. I'm happy with myself. My patience. Patience may have got me that 111th place. We're actually going to see how I came to that lineup, because I don't really remember how exactly I came to that lineup. I think I was looking at other things off the screen here. So, man, I should have took this lineup with T.Y. Hilton in it. T.Y. Hilton. I guess D'Angelo Williams didn't do that well. Never mind. I don't think that would have been that big of a deal. I go back. Now I go to tight ends. Now is when I put in Triple H. Yeah, I'm looking at tight ends because they have Jesse James being as one of the projected guys. But I do lock in Triple H, Hunter Hurst, Helmsley at the same price to generate some lineups. As you know, he was in. These are the 3 guys that were in my top lineup. Oh. Definitely should have went with that one. That first one, look at that. Tannehill, Sims, David Johnson, T.Y. Hilton, Jarvis Landry, Brown. That'd have been a pretty good one. I guess Marvin Jones did better, so maybe that wouldn't have been that good of a one. Close it out. Go back to defense. I want the Dolphins to be in the defense. So now we're kind of building that. So this is kind of this was like my 4 that I'm building lineups off, and this is the lineup that did the best. So it took a little bit of work, took a little bit of effort, built that one up here. And so we'll go ahead and select that one that's got Stephon Diggs and LaShawn McCoy in there. Take that one, it's got Tajay Sharp. It's got a little bit different guy in there. Take that one, it's got Odell Beckham in there. Get a little Odell Beckham in my life, although that one's got a lot of higher owned guys, so I just don't know how good that probably can't be that good. Take all the chalky guys. Oh, click that one. It's got Marvin Jones. No, go back. Click it. Click it. Can we go back and click it again? Damn it. I take this one, it's got Jordan Matthews in it. Process. Look at this. Look, this is process to getting to the lineup that did the best is interesting for me right now. Now I lock David Johnson, and I know I want David Johnson. So now you guys, we're getting there slowly. We're getting there slowly. We got our 5. We got our 5 people, 5 guys we want. building guys around him. Looking at this one, obviously that one would have been a good one to take. Sims, Johnson, Brown, Landry, Hilton, Triple H. We go ahead and take this one with D'Angelo Williams, David Johnson, Vincent Jackson, and Lamborghini Marseille. Yo, chick, she's so thirsty. But I think what I was doing is I was trying to look at guys that I didn't have in all my, like, the ancillary guys, the random guys who they suggest, and then put those guys in. So Stephon Diggs is in that one. That's why I think I went with that one. A little different of a guy. And a different combination of running backs, too. We got to take this one with T.Y. Hilton because I didn't have a T.Y. Hilton lineup yet. Voila, there he is, the 111th lineup over there on the left. So the 111th lineup, I didn't really have any Marvin Jones lineups up to this point, or LaShawn McCoy. So that is why I went with those two, because it had a combination of players that I didn't really have. It had my main 5 guys, but it didn't have 2 guys who I didn't really have in any other lineup, so I felt like those would be good to include. So I include this one, this T.Y. Hilton one, with Charles Sims and Johnson. And then I go include that one straight away. I knew I wanted that one because I saw LaShawn McCoy, I saw Jones. I was like, all right, let's put those guys in a lineup. That's how you get to 111th right there. I'm surprised I didn't take this Forte one, but I don't think I must not have liked Diggs in that lineup. Voila. It took a bunch of modifications. It took a bunch, but that is how the 111th lineup came to be. That is how we came to it. Voila, voila, voila. Our third place lineup, we got 534th in, was the Tannehill, David Johnson, Charles Sims. Yeah, so it's kind of those same 5 guys. Basically, that last thing we did where we locked in our 5, we had our 5 we wanted for sure, and we built some lineups around those 5. Those are the lineups that did the best for us. So instead of us taking that first or second or third one, it was kind of those. It was that 5th shot, that 5th one where we had our main guys locked in there. That did the best for us. So that's awesome to see. I'm very happy with my patience there. Then I went with some Eli Manning lineups and some Shepard stacks as well, with the Dolphins defense locked in. Put some Cameron, Artis Payne, and David Johnson in a couple lineups, and then Artis Payne obviously did not do well, so that didn't go very well. Went back to just Manning and Odell Beckham, kind of put some lineups together. And yeah, kind of used the same strategy, built around Johnson. Just picked a bunch of lineups. Yeah, the Manning one was pretty similar to kind of what I did. And the Dak Prescott lineups, I ended up making 8 of those very last minute. So right now I went back, I made some Langford. I made Langford, Jeffrey, and I don't know, I'm just fucking obsessed with the Bears. Made Langford, Hoyer, and Jeffrey stacks. Like, fishing super hard. Put Johnson in. I'm an idiot. Yeah, I had 37. I made 8 more Dak Prescott's lineups 5 minutes before it ended, and that was the one I got second. I got the second highest with one of the Dak Prescott lineups, so that ended up turning out pretty well. But yeah, guys, that's kind of the process for this week 3. Let me know what you guys think. Obviously, if you guys do join up through Fantasy Labs, let me know. Link in the description below, and put you in the Facebook group. I'll be putting in longer videos in the Facebook group as we go along in the season. We talk strategy, answering questions, all that good stuff. So much love. Thanks for tuning in. Adios, and I'll see you guys Sunday night. Roto Grinders Live, and next week, be back.